Good boy. How are your pups?
Man, they're outside right now. They're doing really good though. So they got their own personality. It's fun. And I think we're live. So oh, that was me. Hold on a second. All right. So we are live. This is primarily a quick little giveaway for the Sand Bucket Challenge. And I've been getting a lot of comments lately about shooting 1,000 yards, what it takes. A lot of folks think you need high-end material, high-end equipment. And if some of you guys have been following my channel, you know that's not necessarily true. I've been taking budget rifles with budget scopes out to 1,000 yards. I got with me JH586. If you guys are not familiar with this channel, definitely go check him out. He does the Georgia Shooting Live Chat every Friday. It's a great discussion on cast bullets, reloading, long-range precision, firearm-related content, occasionally a little bit of politics, but they like to stay reloading content. So go ahead and introduce yourself there, Jamie. Let me know, let the guys know what you got going on.
Go on.
All right, I'll try to keep an eye on the side chat. Hey, we got let's go back to the beginning. We got Michael Sines, Jeremy Gunslinger, Echo and the Bunny Man. Hey, David. Got Charles Irby, Jerry 1911, Vanessa Kitty, Chico Wise, 67 Rebel SST AMC. Anybody I haven't mentioned? 243 Outdoors. Hey, what's going on, Josh? And that, I think, is about it.
All right. Yeah.
Chico, I sent you a text earlier today. Jeremy, I'm feeling much better. I think the antibiotics is finally kicking in. So, Kenny, if you hadn't noticed, man, I've been really sick the last 3 days.
Yeah, I started noticing on your last live chat. It's just a bug going around, man. It's these flu seasons are getting worse and worse. It seems they're starting to adapt. But I'm hoping you're feeling better.
I feel much better today, thanks, man.
Yeah, you sound better, man. All it is having good spirits and lots of water and good support. You'll get over that bug.
Thanks, Michael. Michael, I hope you're feeling better. Michael Sines was starting to come down with it yesterday. I hope it didn't grab hold of him like it did me. But what have you been doing today, buddy?
Well, I didn't think I was going to do a live chat, but I figured, let's just make fun with it and go over some tools, basically, on the reloading side. Tools that anybody can make. These are some of the tools that I'm using for my precision reloading. The first one to my right, your left, is a overall length gauge. I got this idea from James Pollard. He's another YouTube channel, and the guy is just awesome with knowledge. I show you guys basically what this does, how to get your overall length gauge free using Fireform cages. The other one is a chamber length gauge. This is basically how to measure your brass and what to trim to. A lot of folks probably don't realize, but you're probably trimming the brass a hell of a lot more than what you should compared for your rifle. Rifles like the TC Compass and other deer rifles and I guess non-precision match grade barrels are actually cut a lot longer and a lot wider as far as a chamber than what you think. And a lot of that's to do with, I would say, reliability. Like I said, these rifles are normally aimed for hunting. So they are looking at average consumer being in the elements, sand, wind, dirt, water, mud, all that, right? For us, for precision shooting, we're typically just probably in the sand elements, and we're not needing all of that clearance. So I wanted to go over a few tools and some reloading techniques, some mods you could do with a lead reloading press, and using basic lead dies to reach out these budget rifles like these deer rifles to 1,000 yards. Forgot to also mention we have Willie Bullet Man. He's a good friend of ours. He actually recently came here to my house and did some 1,000-yard shooting with the 6x Creedmoor. Go ahead, Willie.
And got smoked by your son. I loved it. I loved it. I had a great time there. Thank you, Kenny. I really appreciate having me on. I'll be muting myself off and on. This puppy of mine is just driving me nuts with the barking, but c'est la vie. I'm just interested in this tooling you did. I like this idea. So let me mute myself again. Thanks for bringing me on.
Not a problem. For the giveaway, I guess no one knows, but if you do win the giveaway, you get 9 puppies with it. So good luck with that one.
Can I say something right quick? Let me. Anybody want to say anything bad about any 3 of us on this panel right now? We all 3 have puppies. So we can't be all bad. If dogs and kids like you, you're not a bad person. You may be a little drifted sideways, but you're not a bad person.
So true.
Echo was saying that he was wondering what kind of stuff was going on. Basically, I had a sinus infection, and Jeremy caught a stomach bug. You can keep them stomach bugs. A sinus infection is bad enough for me. So, Kenny, like you were talking about, thanks, Scotsman. Last night on the live stream, we were talking about doing this meetup up north of Chattanooga in Tennessee, and I want everybody to come that can. But that's got me a little concerned because you know that I've killed deer at up to about 175 yards, but that's about as far as I've ever shot. I've got a really nice Seiko 270 Winchester, and I'm thinking to see how far I can push that out there. So we're going to have a 1,000-yard range available to us in 100 yards increments, so I can just work my way out there. So, and I'm going to be loading up some ammunition because I've been watching your channel for a long time, and I'm fairly convinced that we can load up better than what we can buy. So you want to expand on that? You want to give me some hints and tips as to what I need to watch out for?
Yeah. With factory ammunition, I mean, there are a lot of folks kind of lean towards not reloading because they fear that they could blow up their gun. In fact, with factory ammunition, there's a big possibility, and there's been a lot of recalls of folks blowing up their guns with factory ammunition. Now, as far as precision, one thing that factory ammunition lacks is consistency, and that is a huge term when you talk about precision reloading. Factory ammunition is all done with machines. I got a powder drop that is using volume metrics to basically dump the powder. As a hand loader, we're using tools like this, a trickler, a scale, and we're dedicating the time to make every single bullet as consistent as possible. And that is the key term. Now, with the rifles that we shoot, I strongly believe that rifles like this, and a lot of the rifles that most of you guys probably have, even that 30-06 that you have sitting in the back of your safe, is actually more accurate than you think. In fact, most rifles nowadays are more accurate than a shooter. There's another channel called Zombie Headhunters, and he did a nice quote, and I really believe, and I agree with what he was saying. A lot of your factory ammunition, or factory loaded ammo, and your factory rifles can actually outperform it better than you. Yeah, I'm not going to say there's precision rifles out there that do shoot better. Obviously, it's because they're machined better. But a lot of our hand loading is aimed towards finding that accuracy node. And when we're talking about a higher end budget or higher end rifle build, the reason why it's more accurate is the fact that it has a tighter accuracy node on the muzzle. And we're talking about harmonics. And, I'm not going to go too much in depth with that because that's science rocketry. But basically, those rifles are a more rigid rifle. They got a bigger barrel, more meat around the barrel that reduces that harmonics, that wave. And the rifles like this, recently, as you guys know, I had to return these TC Compass because I was having issues with it performing. But now that I got it back, this is a brand new rifle. I am definitely noticing a big difference between quality. But as you can tell, This is a very pencil barrel. So Josh, 243 Outdoors, he's been doing some great work. He kind of shined the light about the fact that these barrels are just three-shot barrels. You let it cool down afterward, and you get back at it. A typical deer rifle, just like this, usually it has this kind of contour. As far as I would say factory rifles, they're machined better compared to what was back in the old days. And the reason why I think these rifles can still shoot out to 1,000 yards is, for instance, look at a black powder. Everybody knows what do you call it, the Quigley gun, right? And the whole story behind that. Black powder rifle's been shooting out past 1,000 yards, and back then they didn't have the machining capabilities that they do have today. So, that's just something to think about. What do you guys think?
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I mean, look at I'm going to classify it from the military aspect because I was a former sniper. Look what the gentleman did in Vietnam. They just had Model 70s right from the factory, and they're getting 1,000-yard hits. Of course, it's on man, but not an animal, but it's very capable. These rifles are very capable of doing it. Again, but you get those thin barrels, you have the heat soak problems. They're not going to be 4, 5, 6 rounds at a time for accuracy. Your groups are going to open up. You start getting into the heavy barrels and so on, and your groups are going to tighten up and so on. But yeah, I think a standard Model 70 or whatever in your gun safe in '06, it was your grandfather's, is going to be able to shoot 1,000 yards no problem. It's just the factory rounds are scary, and people think factory is the best, and I think it's not, personally. I mean, look what you're going through right now with your 350 Legend. With the primers are flattening out, overpressures. It's just crazy, Did they rush that ammunition through the line? Maybe they did. Maybe it's the new plant they're from, but I've seen more footage of factory ammunition blowing up guns than reloads. You might hear of a squib on a reloader where a person rushed his reloads, but you're not hearing about these guns blowing up all the time. And Uncle Jim's here.
There's Uncle Jim.
Hello.
I'll share my opinion about the firearms quickly, and then we'll let Uncle Jim jump in on his. I think that while the machining techniques are better now than they used to be, I think the older guns were built better with more care given to each individual rifle than what we see today. And I think that's why we see a older gun outperform a newer gun. It's more like the materials are probably a little better. The workmanship was probably a little better, and more time was taken on each individual gun, particularly older Smith & Wesson revolvers. And the Winchester Model 70 is a classic that Willie brought up. The rifle I'm going to be using is a Seiko Model AB. And I thought it was built in like 1988, but it turns out I think it's built more like 1979 or 1980. Maybe Uncle Jim can shed some light on
that. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Thanks for joining, Uncle Jim. Jamie, I think you definitely hit the nail on the head on that one. Just like the Remington 700, there's a lot of folks saying that the new Remington 700s aren't as accurate and as the older ones. And a lot of it is, like you're saying, is the craftsmanship. There's more skilled labor, so to say, which sadly, that's not, the generation growing up today, skilled labor is getting pretty scarce. As far as, Uncle Jim has a pretty good knowledge with a lot of these older guns, and he knows what works. What do you think, Uncle Jim?
I'm just here. No. There's both ways. You got new manufacturing procedures and CNC, nitrite, all kinds of good stuff. So it's a little of both, actually, because you can have human error and machines pretty much dead on a lot of times. CNC today and computers and all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to be neutral on this one.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go over before we do the giveaway. What folks are, I've been getting a lot of questions is basically my rifle setups. You guys all know that I'm rocking out a $35 scope. My son recently shot this rifle, this exact setup. CV Life is the scope that I'm using, $35 Amazon scope. I really recommend folks that are just considering shooting past 500 yards, try it out with a scope like this. Is it the best scope? No, hell no, it's not. The tracking on this isn't perfect, but it does exactly what I need it to do. If I get it zeroed out, I could tell it to go 2 MOA, and my shot impacts would go 2 MOA. And this is consistent all the way out to 1,000 yards. What it does lack is getting back returning to 0 from 1,000 yards. With all the high recoil of the 308, it seems to throw it out of adjustment. But that little simple error and issue that I have, it's a simple fix of re-zeroing the rifle before shooting again at 1,000 yards. Two-shot group to re-zero it. But I really recommend if you guys are going to go anything past 500 yards, you got to get yourself a bubble level. That's to make sure your canting on your scope is correct. And basically what we're talking about is your bullet is going to, the trajectory is going to go up and come down. And if you have your scope offset and you're adjusting to it, you're going to be adjusting with a rifle that's canted diagonally. So you're going to change your point of impact in a diagonal motion instead of it being up and down and then your windage left and right. So having a bubble level is a huge investment. Make sure you place your shots. And, one thing I like about this scope is the fact that you can see. It's not the best glass, but it's adequate enough to where I can see the target, has a parallax adjustment, which I'll talk about that in a little bit. And like I said, it being a 6-24, it's more like the 4-16. 16 power scope is good enough for getting 1,000 yards. So I bet you not, as long as your scope has a parallax, which is another feature I recommend having, you can reach out there. And one thing about the parallax is not to go off the numbers. If you have it listed as 20, 30, 50, 100 yards, what you want to do is adjust the parallax, situate your cheek on the rifle, and ever so slightly move your head up and down. You'll see, if you see the reticle move on your target, you're not parallaxed correctly. So on a scope like this, even a cheap scope, you can get the parallax dialed in to your eyes. And that's the key term with this, is getting parallax adjusted to you. If you don't have the parallax adjusted to you and you have a cheek well that is basically moving around, your point of impacts at 1,000 yards are going to be great, very, I guess, deviant, because you're moving the crosshair. It's not parallaxed. So that's one tip I could say before setting up a rifle at 1,000 yards. Another feature that I look for is MOA. How much adjustment do you have? On a typical deer rifle, you got 0 MOA bases, which usually take up about 30 MOA of adjustment out of your scope. So if you got a 60 MOA adjustable scope, you take away 30, you only have 30 to go up for. And typical 1,000 yard shooting, you need about 24 to 35 MOA of adjustment. So this scope has roughly 65. Taken away with the 0 MOA base, I still have around 40 MOA adjustment. It's pretty good.
And with that cheap scope, I was able to see the target so much clearer than your more expensive scope. That's what the funny thing was.
Yeah, that's one thing that my son and I noticed is we were shooting in the afternoon, and the sun glare on the SWFA was so bad that I couldn't even see the target out of my 6.5 Creedmoor. This scope, bright as day, perfect on a sunset, no problem at all. It's just what they use to cloak the glass is different. Now, I do recommend those SWFA scopes, and Vortex did come out with a Diamondback. That's my next scope I might be getting. But I think a lot of folks here are for the giveaway. Think we should do that now, or?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay. So what I ended up doing was a few days ago, I've been trying to make a rifle bullet trap, and I did a little quick question to see how much, 15 inches of sand if any of my cartridges, including the 30-06 M2 armor piercing round, will go through that piece of sand. We had a lot of folks guess the 30-06. I did a little humor and said the 22 LR did, which obviously didn't. So folks got mad about that. Oh well, you guys could get half in the same pants you got mad in.
They get mad about the 22.
Didn't get one over on the gym. I know that for sure.
They got mad about that.
Get
There's some
over it.
folks. There's some folks, but it's all right. Well, what I said is anybody that answered it correctly gets in the drawing. If you also post it on the Reloaders Network, you get one more entry if you answer it correctly. And if you did a VR, then you get an entry in regardless if you answer it correctly or not. So the folks that I have entered, let me do a screen share here real quick. Let's see here, how do you do this? All right. Starting off, Jerry1911 did a VR. Phil on the Reloaders Network. We got Charlie Brassstuffer. He commented. The big man's outdoors. He hit all three. He's got one on the Reloaders Network, the YouTube comment, and a VR video. Dude Wayne, he commented. We got Catfish 745, Shooting SoCal, James Pollard, JH586, who was here on the panel. We got Ryan Birchfield, Tread, and Puck Pigeon. So what I'm going to do is do a random list number. So what this will do is, or assign you guys on this list a number. You guys see that pretty good or no? You guys able to see that pretty good?
Yeah, but we don't need to see that.
Yeah. And my good friend Jamie here has the hat full of brass, numbered all the way up to number 14.
Oh, I forgot to take 15 out.
Oh, yeah.
What do y'all think about me getting Rigby to come pull a piece of brass out of this bag?
That's a good idea.
Way to go. Good job.
Let me go see her and ask another question and get another entry, or I'll take number 15 out, whichever one you want to do.
All right. Uncle Jim, I'll let you ask a question. See if someone gets it right.
Ask a question.
Just anything random.
Oh, man.
I put you on a spotlight.
Can you give me a sec while someone else has asked one? I'll ask like something about a gun or something.
Yeah, something about a gun, anything, even something related to your channel. You know, whatever. See if someone gets it right. I'm watching the side chat right now.
But I have to do it now.
Yes, not. Well,
I have one about Uncle Jim's channel. Why no toga night? I got my toga already, and you say no toga.
I know, Willie. I'm sorry, Willie.
Dang it.
I don't think anyone's up to it. Plus, it's Memorial Day weekend. It's not appropriate.
No, believe me,
not appropriate.
It's 2 days. You're not going to hear from me for in a couple of days, but I got to make my calls. But that's not until then. So I'll forgive you, my friend. And thank God you finally did the video of your 30 caliber 357 bullet.
I could ask people what that weighs, but that's not fair. Let's do a Kenny question, a Kenny video question.
Okay.
What video did Kenny use a baseball bat? How's that?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
All right. Came through after all.
You sure did. I watched every single one of his videos, and I don't even know that one. And I watch all Kenny's videos.
Well, you have to be a true Kenny fan to know that.
Oh, my goodness. Don't go there.
Well, we had a lot of, I guess, I don't know, recently I had a lot of new subscribers, so it's kind of cool because I get to interact with new people and help out if I can. I'm not a professional in this. I'm just an average Joe, just like everybody here.
Oh, stop it, Kenny. You're the man.
You know. I remember having a baseball bat, but don't remember which video.
When you and me first began talking to each other, you have surpassed us beyond leaps and bounds, my friend.
Nah.
Well,
I learned.
okay, another hint in that video, you were twins.
Man, I am flatlining right now on that.
Thanks, Scotsman. Well, I'll give another minute on that question. If not, I'll ask a simple one. Let's see here.
I'm sorry. I thought that was easy enough.
Kenny, please fix that screen, dude.
Oh yeah, okay, hold on a second here.
Got off on acid again.
Rigby's in the bathtub, so.
Okay, the third question to that question is, what did he smash with the baseball bat? Aha!
There we go.
And it's in my screen. How's that, Kenny?
That'll work.
It don't get any easier. Can you see it in the screen? I can't. I just see the little screen.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Here, let
I
me
only
check.
see your emoji.
Yep, it's in the screen.
Yeah.
I got everybody creeping my channel right now, trying to find the video.
It's in this. It's in this window right here. What he smashed with the baseball bat. That's about
yes. Okay. Yes. Well, yeah. So
easy as it gets.
yeah. We'll make it that question. What did I try to smash, or what did I do?
And people should know you have a dislike for such an item.
All right.
Okay, that's easy.
West Covina Dodge. You got it right. First one.
Covina.
Woo, Pat.
All right. So we'll make you West Covina number 15.
All right.
All right. So you don't have to be searching for that bullet there, Jamie. All right. So I guess we'll let Jamie shuffle around, and Willie, whenever you're ready, tell him to stop. Pull that number out. We'll see who wins.
Pull it.
Can y'all see that number? Yes, you can see that number.
I just
Who I
get
am.
rid of-
I'm number one, baby.
That's
What
it. Number one is the winner.
Big Man's Outdoors.
Congrats, big man. Outdoors.
Number one.
Is he on the side chat? I didn't see him there.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
Right on.
I think so.
Right on, Big Man. Well, you know how to get hold of me, brother. Dude, awesome that you did all three. Really happy and really honored that you did a VR as well. So thanks a lot for that. Obviously, that helped you out. Gave you three chances to win. So that's awesome. Yeah, let me know what kind of what kind of reloading guys you want. And speaking of reloading, I guess we could talk about. Sorry for the screen. Give me a second here. We can talk about how I'm setting up these reloading dies. What I'm doing as far as this press. One thing that I wonder if you guys know, but you could turn a lead turret press and do a simple mod. Do that. I'll show you guys what that is to get a better concentricity out of your cases. Do you guys see the screen here?
Yeah.
All right. Every lead press has this simple little clip. If you see on right here, that little clip right there, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm a
it's
huge
C-clip,
fan.
isn't it?
Yeah, a little C clip. I'm a big fan and big believer of free floating your press and your cartridge. That's how you're going to improve accuracy, concentricity on your cases. I do believe also with using trued out dies and all that, but we're talking about using an arbor press and getting into like ridiculous amounts of money for that kind of press. But basically, the mod that I'm talking about is removing that C clip. Get yourself a little flathead screwdriver.
I just replaced mine because it messes up your bullet sizer.
Yeah. So if you push on the right side of the C clip, you can push it out. You actually remove the thing. I'll show you what this does. Oops, I'll crush my hand. Sharing this one-handed. Let me switch my phone to a little case here.
It's got crickets inside.
That's his laptop, unfortunately.
Yeah, my laptop's probably making all kinds of noise.
No, it's
So
just
basically, once we remove that C clip,
I think it's saying tisk, tisk, tisk.
That is what it sounds like, ain't it?
Yeah, it sounds like, don't do that.
Sounds like your 8th grade science teacher.
Exactly.
so this is what it does. It allows your shell to free float, just like that. All right. Now, a simple mod you could do for that is getting yourself
O-ring, a rubber band, something.
Yep, O-ring, Harbor Freight O-ring set.
Okay.
Best thing ever to have.
Yep, they come in handy.
Yep,
Oh,
I have
yours
that
is
exact
fancy.
kit. Mine's red though, not blue.
Ah, look at that fancy one. I just got a plastic box.
Harbor Freight for the win. And you're gonna replace that little thing, the O-ring, to
So
your
it
press.
don't fall out.
What that does, that just keeps your shell holder from moving around. Now, the only downside to this is the fact that your shell holder spins around now. All right.
Yeah, but
Yeah. But that's a huge upgrade. I found that makes a huge difference for concentricity.
and it saved you $200 on a press.
Exactly. That's what's funny. It actually does the exact same thing now to what the my new press does.
That's really cool.
All right. Another thing I want to go over is basically, if folks don't know, but the decapping pin on a basic full-length sizing die, this is the reload for precision, actually causes quite a bit of run out. I have here just a basic quantity decapping pin. I am using the Lee locking, the locking rings with the O-ring. A lot of folks remove that O-ring. I know Uncle Jim isn't a fan of it, but that O-ring is actually there. I mentioned in a few of my videos.
For free float. Yeah. I don't like them because when you're screwing them up and down, it's a pain.
It is, yes.
Matter of fact, this one only has one on it right now. That's the flaring die.
Now, fully sizing your brass, I'll go over that, what I'm doing basically. I always recommend using a comparator. I mean, I'm going to make this as simple as possible. Tools that you don't need to buy if you don't want to. I mean, comparator, I recommend getting one, but if you don't have one, don't feel like buying one. A comparator, all it really does is it gives you a reference number off your Fireform case to go off of, and you can resize your cases for that. But like I said, it references off your rifle. So with that said, you can use your Fireform case and your rifle as a comparator for resizing. So basically, you're resizing the case, and it'll become like a go no go gauge almost. So I'll resize this case. I'm using unique case lube. I recommend staying away from that one shot. And I'm going to show you guys basically using a decapping pin how much run out that actually gives you.
Now, not to interrupt you, but I've heard a lot of bad stuff about that one shot.
Oh yeah.
I like unique.
Yeah,
I
unique's
just
good
like
stuff.
the homemade lube, you know?
Yeah, I do the homemade stuff with the heat too, but you can rub a little unique in a baggie like this, do all your brass, rub it around. It works great. Your hands are not icky.
Exactly.
I forget the board paste I have. It's an old, I forget the name of it. I've had it for years. Not JB paste. Shit, what the hell is the name of it? I forget.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, no problem. Hold on a second here. Let me get this case more sized.
It's going to drive me crazy. I got to go find it now.
Yeah. So what I have in front of you there, that's just a concentricity gauge from 21st century. You don't necessarily need this tool. I'm just using this as a demonstration. It's a full length size case with the expander ball put in, and you can see that I'm measuring inside case now, concentricity. You can see the swing on that.
Yeah.
That's got roughly, these are in 5/10,000 increments. I'm looking at roughly 5,000s of run out. I mean, that's quite a bit. And we're talking about for precision reloads, that's not good at all. And a lot of that is induced with that expander ball, to be honest. If I remove that expander ball, and size the case with just using the folding die as a body die, basically. And what I do is I size it 3-4 times. Take in mind every time that you work the brass, you are case hardening it. So annealing after the third firing may help out quite a bit. I'm gonna set this camera up again. And we'll measure the concentricity again. You can see there, that concentricity there has gotten down to almost 1,000th only. That's really good, right?
Damn right.
So that's the huge difference with these dies, and a lot of people don't know. The Lee dies, in fact, are actually machined quite well. They're true. They're whatever they're using as cutting these dies, it actually produces a very concentric bullet. What their downfall is the damn expander ball. So
Okay, when you decap, did you use the expander ball and then took it out and did that, or did you use a universal decapping pin?
Okay, as far as the decapping, this is what I would recommend. I would say get the universal expanding die because you can do multiple cartridges with that way. Or buy yourself the Lee collet die, and this is going to be in the next die I'm going to recommend. The Lee collet die will decap your die, and all it does is just squeezes on the neck itself. This is it's a really awesome die. I always seem to go back to Lee dies for some reason. A lot of it is to do with the fact that it fits my budget, and it does what I need to do. I've been kind of experimenting with the upper end dies, but I'm not finding much results, and I'm always falling back to the Lee collet die. I used Redding bushing dies. In fact, I'm actually sending this back to Redding because I'm finding that this is causing quite a bit of run out. Typical Redding bushing die, and you can buy these for about this die setup with the bushing costs roughly over 120 bucks.
Yeah, I was going to say 10,000, but yes.
That's a lot of money. And what's funny is that even though Redding is a good name brand, and I'm not dogging Redding at all, I might just have a bad die. The Lee collet die just gives you good numbers. And so as you've seen, I've resized the case without the expander ball. That means the neck is going to be a little bit too tight. So the collet die is going to sit there. It's actually going to fix the neck tension. So we'll do that. I'll size it a couple times, 3 times. And if you notice, every time I size the case, I spin it about 90 degrees. And we'll check concentricity now again. Like I say, you don't need to have this gauge. This is there for reference, but it is a good tool to have. Not necessary for doing 1,000 yards though. So there it is. This is a size case, and you can see that concentricity down to like what 1,000th, if that.
Wow.
So Lee collet dies. Telling you guys, it's a good die to get. It's cheap, and this is the reason why I'm giving one away. Definitely will get you out to 1,000 yards. So that's a few tricks as far as setting up your dies, what dies to get. Removing the decapping pin definitely does make a huge difference. Now, another thing that I'm going to say that you could do, make your own tools. is something like this. Now, let me switch back over to the other camera, and we'll talk about these.
Before you start that, Kenny, let me show you my 270. I have the Lee Ultimate 270 set. When you buy the Ultimate dies from Lee, you get the Colette neck sizing die in the package, correct?
Correct, yes.
And the price of these over the regular 3-die set is not very much. I think it's what, 12 more bucks?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're like 42 or something like that when you get them on sale, whatever.
Yeah.
For the set.
And I think the others are 43. I'm at 33,
Yeah.
38, something like that, depending on when you buy them and who you buy them from. But Kenny, one thing I've been doing for quite a while is your little trick with the slit in the case to see where your bullet is actually hitting the lands. But that other one I want to see. Can you explain that one to us?
Yeah, sure can. Am I locked on the other camera for some reason? Or
I see
you guys see me? Okay. This overall length gauge, this was a tip I got from James Pollard. Using a fire form case, you're going to use the Lee collet die, squeeze the neck back down. What that allows you to do is situate a bullet inside the case just like that. And with the slit on the case, that allows the bullet tension not to be so much that you can, that allows the bullet to slide back down. So, two things you're going to want to do: you get your bolt action rifle. I recommend actually taking the ejector plunger out because the plunger does give, what do you call it, more play. I'll get this bolt to come out. There we go. And I probably bet you guys probably never took the ejector plunger out. You got quite a bit of cases or rounds through it. It's probably a good idea to take it out and clean off all that carbon. But I took it out that way I could situate the case in there without it trying to push away. The key term is using a fire form brass out of your rifle and doing this mod. So you're going to sacrifice a piece of brass. So you put a slit in it after you collet neck size it, throw the bullet in there, and chamber the round. This is a dummy round, no primer. Okay. You'll feel a slight resistance on the bolt. Let it cam over. Pull it back down. As you can see, the bolt didn't want to eject. It's a lot easier just to pull the whole thing out. And use that. Doing this 5 times, you get a kind of a number, an average. And this will give you your overall length to the lands. Now, every bullet is overall length is a little different. That's why I recommend using a bullet comparator. But for simplicity, for shooting 1,000 yards, you can just reference off this number here. This one being 2,925 case overall length. So this is to hitting the lands. Now for us, reason why you want to keep everything tight and close to the lands is you're after high pressure, minimum velocity. Basically what that means is you're letting things barely expand, letting it build all the pressure, and then releasing the bullet. But every rifle has its own characteristic.
Kenny?
Yep.
All the side chat can see is the press. You've got it locked on the other camera.
That's what I thought. Is that better?
1 minute and I'll tell you.
Yeah, this is the whole thing about the hangouts. It's really annoying.
Yeah, see, now I see the press. I was seeing Kenny before.
There we go.
Well, you've got 2 cameras going.
True.
One's blocked off. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, I can't see
Yeah,
no one.
let Tread know we are paying attention to him. But he's going to. There you go.
There you go.
Now you're going to have to start all over so they can see what you were talking about.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate someone at least mentioning it out. I don't waste all my time. this is James Pollard little tool. Yeah, put a slit in it. You know, you guys were listening. It's a neck size case only. Putting the bullet in, remove the plunger off the bolt.
Sorry.
Simply, you know, put a bullet in there that allows you to let the bullet slide down into the case. Of course, this is a dummy round. There's no powder, no primer.
Elvis Ammo did that in an older video too.
Yeah, he did. I remember that. So you want to be kind of gentle with it, like, you know, let your bolt go all the way forward. Cam it down. You're going to have some resistance because this is fire form to your chamber. You'll pull it out and see that the cartridge stayed with the bolt because I don't have the plunger. That plunger causes a big thing with kind of a variance because it tries to push your case forward. So removing that and letting the bolt dictate the headspace on there. But you can take that, get your case overall length. This will give you a good number of reference. I recommend doing this 4 or 5 times. That way you have an average. Most people, they recommend starting at 20 thousandths off the lands. Is you taking that number, go off 25 thousandths, and don't be afraid to actually jump up quite a bit. A lot of folks that go out there and test their reloads, they don't really move that number quite a bit. You know, go from 25 thousandths, then go up to 15, 5, then jam the lands. And of course, you're looking for pressures as well. But every rifle, like I was saying, has its own characteristic. I found out for this rifle, it actually likes 110 thousandths of jump. And that's just something that, you know, as a hand loader, you're going to start seeing these things with certain rifles. So that's why I really recommend getting into the reloading, because you get more familiarized with the rifle. And you can pretty much take any rifle, like I'm saying, a deer rifle, and make it perform knowing some of the characteristics on these rifles. So for instance, this 308, I got to push this down. This gives me a case overall length of 2.3010. So basically 2,301. And that's a 110 thousandths jump. And coincidentally, I'm using Nosler bullets. Their reloading data does state the same thing. Their overall length, case overall length, says 2.30. So obviously they've done their own research, and the reloading data does coincide with that. But
and I've done that with my 35 Remington, and my best groups are, well, the only ones all of them I've shot have been about 7 to 8 thousandths off the land, because of that big old honking bullet I'm shooting, that big 200 grain cast lead bullet. And
exactly,
I've seen no signs of pressure out that far, and I've shot some pretty good groups with a lever gun with 2 barrel bands around it. So that's another thing as I progress into the jacketed bullet side, we'll work on that a little bit more.
Yep. Yeah, and that's funny. Like I said, every cartridge is different. Like for instance, this 6.5 Creedmoor, this is pushed out quite a bit. I'm roughly 8 thousandths off my lands, and that allowed me to free up some case volume and push above max listed load data, which is another good thing for pushing these bullets out further. But if you're going to start loading and you want to load for precision, I recommend going off what they say first as far as overall length. Shoot a ladder charge. Try to find an accuracy node and stick with one variable. So basically, you'll shoot this. You find an accuracy node. Say for me, using Varget, 43 grains or 43.5 grains is what I found at a case overall length. From there, mess with your overall length, and don't be afraid to jump up 10, 15 thousandths. That way you kind of save reloading supplies, and you're going to see what's making a difference. In case overall length, bullet jump does make a huge difference as far as impacts. And with these budget rifles, we're not needing quarter MOA groups. If a typical target at 1,000 yards is a 24 by 24 inch target, anything under 1 inch, you're going to hit the target. And that's what makes this long range game really fun. And in fact, you could do it for a hell of a lot cheaper. So I guess we could talk about the next tool. This right here is a DIY chamber length gauge. Again, going off the load manuals, a lot of folks trim their brass to possibly the max length. What they don't know is your chambers, like I said, are cut a lot longer and a lot wider to accommodate, I would say, reliability. So as you can see here on this piece of brass, this is another Fireform piece of brass. I've cut the neck in half, and if you can see that slit, where is it at? Right there. This is basically, I use my trimmer, square it up the front, the top right here, cut it in half, and what that allows me to do is make a little ring, adjustable ring. Now you can kind of do a 2-in-1 deal here: overall length, case overall length gauge, and a chamber length gauge. Now, why is this important? For one, you don't want to oversize your brass or have your brass too long, because what that does is when you chamber the round, it's going to put your case mouth and do a crimp, and that's going to cause overpressures. So if you're specifically loading for ARs, that's not a good thing. You're going to get high pressures really fast. For two, it does help increase accuracy when you have your case length, your neck, close to your chamber, and it doesn't allow the carbon to build up around that little step. Now, I recommend not cleaning your rifle as much, but I do recommend cleaning your chamber. So after every 15, 20 rounds, that carbon buildup is very significant, especially if you're using powders like 4895, some of the dirtier carbon powders. And having your case trimmed to match nearly your chamber, you're reducing that. And also it allows you to have more case or bullet support. And this aids with concentricity for if you're using your magazine on your rifle, the chamber. That extra case or neck allows the bullet to not move around as much, the pivoting point, so to say.
I like that tool jig thingy.
Yeah. Now, a lot of folks don't know, but NOE, which is a casting website, usually named for cast bullets, they make this exact same tool, and they call it a chamber length button. It's essentially the same thing. You buy it, and what it is a flat top, and it sticks inside your case. You're going to have to trim the brass halfway down, the case neck, trim it halfway down, and use that chamber length button. Actually, I'll show you guys what it looks like, and I'll give you your chamber length. So once you get that number, I like to trim 5 thousandths off of that number. So let me look it up real quick on NOE's website.
No, I like your idea because you're not buying anything. You're just using an old casing that's fire formed and
stuff you got.
Yep. Stuff you already have, and you're saving some money. And
how did you cut that? How did you cut that button off of the piece of brass, kid?
Just a Dremel, typical Dremel. Again, you wanted this neck size of brass only, fire form. Then go ahead and trim the brass to length like you usually would, just to square up the front of it. Then use a Dremel with a cutoff wheel, cut it in half. Then your deburr tool to deburr all the edges, and then cut a slit on the ring.
And then keep the good side of the ring on top. Just mark it.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Now this could be kind of a 2-in-1 deal. I haven't found it as accurate as the other overall length gauge tool that James Pollard has introduced me to, but it could give you a pretty good reference. You could probably do 2-in-1. The reason why is because it's got less stress. You can move the bullet quite a bit easily with that much shoulder cut off. Now, where's it at? Oh, here it is. So a lot of folks actually ask me a question too. Do I crimp my bullets? And the answer is no. I primarily shoot bolt action, and there is no need to crimp a bullet. Folks have gotten better accuracy with crimp bullets, and a lot of it's to do with that what I was talking about, chasing that minimum velocity peak pressure before the bullet is released.
But you crimp your ARs, just not your bolt guns.
Not my bolt guns. Bolt guns are all relied on neck tension. ARs, that's a different story. If it's got a carnivore, yeah, I definitely crimp. If it doesn't, then I don't. I rely on neck tension and do a slight, very slight curve to it. Now let me show you guys this chamber length tool I was talking about. Here's NOE's website, and it's under chamber length button. If you go to NOE's bullet mold, and you can see all the calibers. So you got 270, 7mm, 6.5, and it's essentially the same thing. You know, it's a simulated bullet that's chopped in half and it has that little flat spot to where you're going to do the exact same thing I just showed you, but you have a nice flat surface to put your caliper on and get your overall length chamber. So cool tool to have. The biggest benefit of doing this is the fact that you can free up case volume. You could have your bullet supported with the case neck and have all that extra volume to mess with and chase that higher velocity node. So it's kind of a cool tool. I don't know what the other folks think of at the side chat. I haven't really seen it.
I like your method better than the NOE thing.
Yeah.
Me too, 100%.
I don't see how the NOE thing's going to work, but
yeah. So
that's you're talking about crimping. When I'm doing loads for my 35 Remington or my 30-30, I crimp, and I crimp fairly heavy with a lever gun and a spring-loaded tube magazine. You gotta crimp, man.
Yeah. And that all goes with the familiarity of your rifle. Again, that's something I've never done yet. I never messed with a 35 Remington. And looking at the recoil of that thing, I definitely say, yeah, you probably need a trim. But
Josh brings up a good point. When you do these and you make rounds for this is tailor fitting that round for that rifle. You don't shoot these in anybody's rifle.
Yes, 100% agree. So now I get the question all the time: do I full length size or do I bump size, or do I do this next size? Now we could go back to what I was doing earlier. Like I say, a comparator is a really good tool to have. You can buy the comparator with the bushings for roughly $20 and buy just the bushings. About $6-7 a bushing. And but you can use your rifle as well. Like I said, your rifle is a comparator itself. If you're building a cartridge to your rifle, you resize the case, take the case, see if it chambers. Simple as that. If it doesn't, like this right here, well, screw in your die a little more until it does. So using your rifle as your comparator is a good way and to improve accuracy. And what you're really chasing is the least amount of expansion, the most buildup possible with what do you call it? Linear pressures, the powder buildup pressure, and releasing the bullet. So that's pretty much the other tip I have for this. I mean, people have done this before without comparators, so I'm just trying to see what they did in the past, and this is what I found to work.
Uncle Jim, you ain't right.
What's he saying?
He said, he's got his icon, his picture, and his mic's cut off. He said he's out in the garage cutting brass.
Oh, you're doing it right now?
And I just hear little dribble going.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Let me show that real quick. Does anybody know on the side chat basically what the overall length is, trim length, that is recommended for 308?
I could look it up. I got books out there, but I'm sure you know right off the top of your head.
2.005, right? So I just made that tool, put it in there. I'm gonna show you guys how much more of a chamber length that I have. You're like really surprised, and this is actually with a lot of rifles. Again, this isn't a precision cut rifle or barrel, but surprisingly, there's a lot more play in it than what most people think. So you can see that's it pushed the ring back quite a bit. We'll go over the overall length. 2.005 is factory. Let's make sure this is zeroed out first. Oh man, I don't know if you can see that.
What is it say? Oh,
2.021.
wow,
So
that's a lot.
they're telling you to trim the brass to 2.005, when in fact my chamber and my rifle, like I said, this is all with different rifles. Every rifle's different. 2.021. That's a big difference. I mean, you got.
And if I could interrupt, for those that already cut their 300 blackout, use a little chop saw to make the ring. Easy,
There we
smooth,
go.
fast, and easy.
I forgot all about that tool. See, that's why I brought you on, Uncle Jim. So, yeah, that's a significant difference. And like I said, you have all of that chamber that's allowing the soot and the carbon to build up right there. So next time, more and more you keep chambering around, you got all that carbon building up. That's going to cause higher pressures. And what the higher pressures entail is more velocity or deviance in your velocity. And we're chasing accuracy nodes and long range. That 20, 30 FPS difference, it's a huge impact. It's 10 inches at 1,000 yards, just at a 30 FPS deviance, which brings up another question. Do you necessarily need a chronograph to shoot 1,000 yards, test your loads? As y'all know, chronographs are expendable. I've witnessed that recently. So,
Oh man, don't bring that up again.
yeah, a chronograph is another good tool to have. It's expensive, as you know. Some of those Doppler ones get up to $600. What you could do is notepad and paper, and take good notes, and seeing what your rounds do at 500 yards. You're looking for a water line. How does your impacts hold up out the distance? Yeah, you could probably do your ladder charges and get a really good group, quarter MOA, whatever, half MOA, but that's not going to tell you how good that load is until you reach it out far range if you don't have a chronograph. So another good tip to do is take that load that you develop, see how consistent it is, go back out there during a different day. Again, you're going to take note of the weather conditions, the wind, barometric pressure, all that. Try it out at 500 yards. Look at your impacts. If it's nice and leveled and you got a nice tight group, well, you got a good group, and you don't need a chronograph for that. You can take that out and you can kind of guesstimate what it will do at 1,000 yards.
Now, Kenny, have you heard of the Cadillac Ranch, where the Cadillacs are all like this, buried in the...
Yes.
How about a chronograph ranch?
I can send one right now. Start that.
Damn it, Jim.
Oh, bad.
Yep.
Bad, no bad. Did you try to fix it yet?
I haven't, but I know it'll work because I did put a little jumper cables on the tabs that turn it on, and the LCD lit up.
There you go.
Is it going to be accurate? I don't know. We're going to have to find out. I mean, this thing's been shot 5 times. I'll give it that. They got looks like it passed through there, but in fact, the last one I took it out passed through there and went down and took out the battery.
It didn't have 9 lives.
Send it to me, Kenny. We'll blow it up with some police station details.
Yeah. But honestly, that's basically all I have. It's it doesn't take much to shoot 1,000 yards. You could use the basic Lee die sets, and obviously you could tell with this Elite turret press. This is a value turret press of $65. And though I'm using Hornady dies, I gave someone else my Lee die set. I was essentially getting the same kind of concentricity. Just doing those little simple tools, DIY tools that you could have, kind of help you out in the reloads. And with the budget rifle setup, this is a $200 rifle, $35 scope, and good load development. You're going to hit 1,000 yards easily, and you could do all this under $600.
Okay, Kenny, I want what's the word for it? Anyway, Georgia boy said this in the side chat. You are no BS, no hype, straight to the point, great information.
Oh, thanks.
And I agree 100%.
I would too. You can't argue with the pastor.
It don't get
Nope.
any better than what you do.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. You know, and a lot of folks, unfortunately, a lot of channels that I used to follow, I noticed the trend was aiming towards making money, and that's not what I want to do here. I want to share my experience because there's a lot of folks that I've met, Uncle Jim, Jamie, Willie, Charlie Brastuffer, you know, everybody on that little group that we have has helped me within my last 3 years of really just dialing in and getting to know my firearms. And you know, I always get that question: why are you spending so much money on budget rifles? I could spend money on those high-end rifles, but I'm not going to understand how those high-end rifles work without starting from the bottom and going from the bottom and seeing, hey, this is what I could do to make this budget rifle work. I could then know what my next step is to get that extra precision needed. And as of right now, the precision I need is just to shoot a, you know, 24 by 24 inch target. I'm not going for that 1 minute group or 1 inch group at 1,000 yards like F-flash shooting. You know, and that's where those higher end rifles do perform. But the folks that I've met that shoot that kind of rifle have no idea why the rifle shoots like that. And so when they go to a match and the weather conditions are different, they're pissed off and cussing because they don't know why their rifle isn't shooting the way it was last week. You know,
Oh, yeah.
This all goes to show that starting from somewhere low and knowing, you know, basically the characteristics of certain rifles and your rifle is going to make you a better shooter. So when things do change, you could go, hey, I know why my point impact change went from, you know, 5 inches all the way down to 3, or vice versa. I could do this, make this minor tweak according to my notes. The barometer conditions change 5, mercury, and that's the reason why. And you know, that's, like I said, it's all about taking notes and getting familiarized with your rifle. So that's a lot of reason why I start with these little budget rifles.
So isn't it time for Uncle Jim to start?
Yeah, I'll say
I'm
4
not even
minutes.
set up yet, so we'll be running late. I had to change devices, and yeah, that's all right.
Well,
This is better anyway.
You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys jumping on. A Big Man Outdoors. Hey, congrats on that win, dude.
Absolutely, big man. Big
Yeah.
Man Outdoors. Congrats.
I hope you know. I really, like I said, I just want to help people out meet their goal, and that's all I'm here for. So I hope this helped out quite a bit. Looks like we have 38 watching. I appreciate you guys joining. This was kind of fun.
Always fun.
Always. I'm always here for you, buddy. I just sat here trying to keep my dogs quiet, absorbing the information. And my wax is Imperial sizing wax. I love that Imperial sizing wax.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was driving me nuts.
Yeah, I used the Hornady with the Imperial sizing wax, but I could get a hold of the Hornady stuff anywhere.
Oh, plus, you get so much more of that than that Imperial. It's just a little tiny little chingasa can. You know?
Yeah. Well, guys, everybody in the side chat, thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. If you have any suggestions, of course, or if you guys want to see something specific, that's what I'm here for. Comment below. If you look at the description, I believe my email's there. You know, anybody could go ahead and answer a question. I appreciate not having any of those disturbing pictures sent to me.
Woohoo! Rock the patch for you, Kenny.
There we go. Well, yeah, like I said, I'm here to help. I do get busy once in a while, so I'll do my best to get back to you. And with that said, we got Uncle Jim's live chat showing up. So anybody that's here in the live stream right now, definitely jump over to that, because that's going to be fun.
Yep.
Will do.
All right. I think we'll end it here. Guys, thanks for joining. I'll catch you on next one.
Thank you, Kenny.
Great chat, Kenny. Thanks a lot.
Thanks
for having me, brother.
Thanks, Jamie.